Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Black Clover, Rampage Asta. Chapter 61. But after he's gone, aren't we alone together? Noel looked at Asta's burly back and muttered softly. What are you talking about, Noel? Asta realized that Noel was not following, and turned his head. Nothing, let's go. Noel followed in a panic, but suddenly stepped on a hidden trap magic under his feet, which is a plant trap magic. Green vines rushed from all directions, instantly grabbed Noel's limbs, and pulled it into a big character. This pose, a bit unexpected. Asta was stunned for a moment, but didn't rescue him immediately, because this posture really resembled the heroine who was tied up in a chutney. Come and save me, Asta. Noel screamed in panic. Learn. Asta dashed forward, the sword of breaking demons swept out, and the vines bound to Noel were immediately cut off. However, this plant trap magic seemed to be the booze of this lair, and it was not solved so easily, but in the water next to it, a giant piranha rose up. Cum clap clap. The piranha was like a laser shot, and countless vines flew out from behind. Noel was caught off guard and was bound again. At the same time, the piranha opened its mouth, and it was full of thick venom and white bones. Something. Open the door. Human. Asta opened the second door immediately, and his speed and strength reached an unprecedented height under the operation of chakra in his body. At this moment, even those lightning-fast vines could not capture his figure. Death to me. Asta exerted force on his feet, and rushed towards the piranha like a cannonball. During this period, countless vines tried to block Asta's approach, but these tough vines in the eyes of others were just as vulnerable in front of the devil's sword. Hit. Ha! The sword of breaking the devil fell fiercely, and the plant trap magic inherited from ancient times was immediately divided into two halves. What a firm look. After Noel landed, her pink eyes were full of handsome expressions. The moment Asta rushed away just now, those amber eyes were as bright as the bright moon in the starry sky. These eyes. If only I could learn this magic. Asta sighed regretfully, but at this moment, a faint sound suddenly came from his ear. Someone is coming. Asta was vigilant for the first time, and Noel also took out grimoire and leaned in front of Asta. It seems that they have saved themselves, so let's continue to attack the magic palace. On the arc, Claus said while holding on to his glasses. Since you're here, it's better to go down and say hello. Mimosa is not as inhumane as Klaus, and in her opinion, since she can change the direction of to rescue the person at the first time, then she must be a very important person. Came to Asta without the slightest stagnation. After all, the arc was his magic, and he would naturally go wherever he wanted. Asta smiled. It was really a reunion after a long absence. Now looks more and more like an aristocrat in the cloak of the Golden Dawn. Asta. Stared at Asta tightly. The person in front of him was a close friend and an opponent, in short, the person who will bond with him for the rest of his life. It turned out to be the Golden Dawn people I met last time, but that day I saw the little blonde girl turned out to be Mimosa. Noel looked at Mimosa, who had a pollution-free face, feeling a lot of pressure in an instant. Noel, Guyan, Mimosa greeted intimately, and then sighed. I haven't seen each other since the royal family gathering last year. Noel, you have met an acquaintance too. Asta looked at Mimosa with blonde hair and curly hair with interest. Those eyes were pure and loving like a deer. Ah, it's a bit of a relationship. Noel was a little uncomfortable. She wouldn't tell Asta that everyone compared her with Mimosa since she was a child. One is a princess who is really sought after by thousands of people, and the other is a typical laughingstock, but this Mimosa is not like other people. She laughed at herself the same way, so that she didn't know how to face this cousin. I'm Noel's cousin, please advise. Mimosa glanced at Asta politely, and then said to Noel worriedly, I heard that you joined the Black Bulls. It seems to be a very savage group. Are you alright when you join there? HMPH, you should be worried about yourself, Mimosa. It's worrying if you're so slow to work on Golden Dawn. Noel raised an eyebrow. I'm very good, everyone is very gentle, so we get along very well, but speaking of Noel, you have been unable to control the magic power well before, how is it now? Mimosa stepped forward and preached caringly. It's improving a little bit. Noel said that this sentence hurts her heart, but Mimosa still has no malice at all, which makes her not even have the opportunity to retort, which is a bit of an internal injury. That's good. By the way, we were awarded a star by the Magic Emperor during our last mission. Mimosa rejoiced in preaching. Klaus finally felt that this boring conversation had some meaning. After all, it was very rare to be able to get the Magic Emperor's award in the mission, but what surprised him was that the Black Bull rookie who should have heard this sentence with envy turned out to be he also snorted like him. What the hell is this? Unfortunately, we also got stars before. Noel cocked his hair and preached proudly. This time he was really happy, and he finally regained a victory in front of Mimosa. Don't lie, how could the newcomer of the mere Black Bully get a star? Klaus's expression of seeing the truth made Asta feel very uncomfortable. You four-eyed boy, is it difficult to admit that others are excellent? Asta raised an eyebrow. Who are you talking about, the four-eyed boy? Klaus was taken aback. Is this the way the poor speak to the nobles? Obviously, whoever wears glasses is who? Asta rode. Is that how the Black Bulls bring new people? Who is the one who led you out this time? I want to talk to him. Klaus looked around and sneered. Isn't it because I left you alone, or died in the trap magic? You know that this mission will encounter an enemy magician, right? So when others are shielding you from the wind and rain, you still have to keep a little conscience. Asta retorted. You mean he was at war with a hostile country? Klaus had a cautious look on his face. Obvious thing, isn't it? Asta spread his hands. In fact, the ghost knows what Luck is doing. Anyway, according to Luck's character, it is most likely to fight with the enemy. Nice job. Noel secretly rejoiced. So in this war of words without gunpowder smoke, their Black Bulls have regained a city. HMPH, clumsy lie, let Mimosa expose you. Klaus waved his hand and said loudly. Yes, plants create into the road sign of the magic flower. Mimosa tacitly used his own exploration magic, and saw a dazzling light flashing. A green, fat, red and thin flower bloomed, and after the petals bloomed, there was actually a 3D model of a magic palace. For a time, the structure of the magic palace was fully displayed in front of everyone's eyes. Not only that, but also some flickering light spots. It's amazing magic. If you guessed correctly, these light spots represent the number of people who have entered the magic palace, and the brighter the light spot, the stronger his magic power. Asta glanced at the demure Mimosa, and if he could tie Mimosa to his side, it would be much easier to explore the enemy. I see, there are indeed people fighting on the map, but the situation is showing a one-sided trend. It seems that the leader of the Black Bulls has encountered a hostile country's magician. While looking at the map of the magic palace, Mimosa pointed at his lips and analyzed. Really go to war with the enemy country? Klaus was stunned and shocked. What's the trouble? When did the Black Bully be so reliable? Humph, now you know the selflessness of our Black Bulls members. Although the Magic Emperor has given the two Magic Knights this mission, we are the ones who keep the hostile countries out of the door. Noel raised his little head slightly, his expression full of pride and happiness. Cut. Looking at this one-sided situation, you can see that the enemy just left these people to attract firepower. The real elite must have moved towards the depths of the Magic Palace, so the real war should break out there, and then we will Golden Dawn will let you Black Bulls know what is the gap between the chief and the bottom of the Magic Knights. Klaus put down his harsh words and immediately ordered Yuno and the two to set off. Asta, what should we do? Should we go to meet Luck or go to the treasure hall in the depths of the Magic Palace first? Noel asked. Look at the map, Luck is not far from us, let's meet up with Luck first. After all, we don't use exploration magic, and if we want to reach the treasure hall in the depths of the Magic Palace as quickly as possible, we can only find Luck first. Asta spoke calmly. Although we are a lot slower this way, but that's the only way. By the way, Asta, do you remember Luck's position? Noel said. Let's go. This ancient magic palace is quite interesting, and it's time to take an adventure when looking for Luck. Asta smiled and said that although he only glanced at Mimosa's map just now, he had already memorized most of the paths in his mind, and there was no problem with finding Luck with these memories. On the arc that Yuno unfolded, Klaus said with lingering anger, that idiot was called Asta just now. What's the matter with this guy? Why can't he feel any magic power in him? Speaking of which, I didn't sense his magic just now. Mimosa's eyes also lit up, recalling the details of greeting Asta. Her induction magic couldn't perceive any magic power in Asta at all. Mimosa's magic has the ability to explore, and if she can't sense it, it proves that that person has no magic power at all. I really can't understand what the head of the Black Bulls thinks, even such a guy who fishes in troubled waters. Dare to accept it, it is indeed the existence at the bottom. Klaus spoke disdainfully. Senior Klaus, he was the only one who defeated me during the exam of the Magic Knights, and until now I'm still chasing his footsteps. Remember clearly, it's chasing. Yuno's face turned cold, and his tone couldn't help but intensify. He would not allow others to underestimate his only appointed competitor. What, is he the one who beat you? Mimosa covered her mouth with her hands. She had experienced Yuno's power through these missions, but she didn't expect that the silver-haired man with the black bull was even more powerful than Yuno. Humph, isn't that taijutsu? I've heard people in the regiment say that this kind of trick can't resist magic after all. His growth is destined to reach a certain level and then he will stop moving forward, but magic power can always be proportional growth. Klaus still didn't change his opinion of Asta. Yuno didn't have the interest to talk at all, he just followed Mimosa's directions blindly. At the same time, the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom also held a high-level meeting because of the appearance of the ancient magic palace. According to the latest information, the relevant personnel of the Golden Dawn of the Magic Knights and the Black Bull of the Magic Knights have launched an investigation into the Magic Palace, and we have confirmed the invasion of the Diamond Kingdom Magician Army. Intelligence officers in large gray robes knelt down on the main hall, reporting the latest information meticulously. Diamond Kingdom is really worrying. It has been expanding its territory in recent years, and it is a very aggressive country. Then the members we sent to the Magic Palace this time are reliable. If the magician of the Diamond Kingdom stole the ancient magic, it would be big bad. As soon as the intelligence officer's voice landed, the counselors in the hall began to discuss. Then who is the leader sent by Diamond Kingdom? Magic Emperor said calmly, with a happy smile always on his face. The leader sent by the enemy is Naraku's Lotus. Intelligence officer said. What? It turned out to be a long-established sorcerer. The MPs were boisterous again. Oh, Lotus, I have also met him on the battlefield, he is super powerful. The Magic Emperor sighed with a smile on his face, which immediately made Marks beside him unable to calm down. Magic Emperor, please feel a little nervous, we are all new recruits this time. Marks was speechless. It's alright, although Luahua's magic is very interesting and powerful, the kid that Yami sent out is also super strong. Magic Emperor recalled Asta's red eyes like the sunset, which were really a pair of beautiful and mysterious eyes, and Asta's anti-magic weapon was coupled with the powerful taijutsu. Magic Emperor believed that any magician who encountered Asta did not take precautions in advance. In any case, the battle will be very embarrassing. At this time, only you are so optimistic. Marks reluctantly complained. That's called having a good idea, Marks. The Magic Emperor narrowed his eyes slightly. For the two newcomers, Asta and Yuno, this Magic Palace mission was indeed an out-of-scope task. Whether it was the magic of the Magic Palace's traps or the wizards of the enemy country, this was a very important task for any Magic Knight order. It is not a small challenge for the old members of the team, but it is precisely because of the difficulty of the task that these two treasures can be better polished. I'm really worried. Black Bull headquarters, Vanessa was bored lying on the sofa drinking red wine, but unconsciously always thought of Asta and Noel who were going to do the task. These two little guys are still as delicate as chicks, is it really good to give them such a dangerous task like this? Vanessa stared at Yami who was reading the newspaper. It's alright, there's no problem with luck, that guy's perceptual magic is outstanding, even more powerful than many nobles. If it wasn't for his personality flaws, he would have received many invitations from the leader. Yami couldn't help laughing when he said this. He is really smart and can recruit so many wizards. It's because of my personality that I'm worried. Magna, who was playing with fireballs, couldn't help but said, this kid, whenever he encounters a fight, he will go to the top. If it doesn't become a fight, he will leave Asta and the others alone. It shouldn't be so unreliable, probably. Yami took a breath, and if luck really threw Asta and the others aside, it would be a little joyful to think of the helpless expressions on Asta and Noel's crisis. Boom. A magician who was serving as a magician in a Black Diamond Kingdom was heavily knocked to the ground by Luck. It's really weak. Luck looked around at the 7 or 8 wizards who had been defeated by him. These people hadn't even made him sweat, but the decadent leader sitting on the ruins should not let him down, right? After all, This mission is no trivial matter, and it would be too much for Diamond Kingdom to just send these little shrimps here. Young power is really powerful, but if you are too eager for success, you may be in danger. Naraku's lotus covered his head with a headache. The young man in front of him was really full of energy, and his subordinates were eliminated in an instant. It seems that the descendants of the four-leaf clover kingdom are also not easy, but, compared with their countries, that war machine is still a little worse. If the catastrophe is over, this also requires you to be strong enough, and I hope that as a general, you won't let me down. Luck looked at Naraku's lotus with excitement. This was the first time he had fought against a heavyweight magician. The power of thunder on him couldn't help but surge. It's really scary thunder magic power, but what's even scarier is that you can wrap it around yourself. This not only has high practical attack power, but also gains a terrifying speed like thunder and lightning. The more you look at it, the more afraid you are. Although Naraku's lotus said verbally that he was very scared, in a few words, he had already analyzed Luck's fighting style very thoroughly. Then what kind of magic will you use to fight? Luck's turquoise blue eyes were full of excitement at this time. His thirst for battle was as strong as the thirst of people in the desert for water. Now that he met the wizard of the hostile country, he finally arrived and could be happy. It's time to fight. It's really full of fighting spirit, but the purpose of your four-leaf clover empire is also the treasure hall of this magic palace, so why do we have to fight? Here is a peaceful competition, okay. You don't say anything and make a happy decision like this. After Naruo's lotus finished speaking, he directly took out the stance of the 100-meter race. From finding the escape route to exerting force on his feet, he completed the escape in a total of less than 0.5 seconds. I don't agree. Thor's boots under Luck's feet exerted force, and the power of thunder and lightning reached its limit in an instant. So fast. Naraku's lotus was obviously prepared for Luck's speed, and stretched out his hand as if to tear the space in front of him, and then a large amount of black smoke rose up. At this moment, Luck came first, and the kick with the power of thunder was originally aimed at the back of Naraku's head, and at the moment before the black smoke formed, Luck felt that his toes were no more than a finger away from Naraku. Logically, at such a short distance, he could instantly hit the target, but after the black smoke rose, Luck missed it. Dodged. Luck is a little unbelievable. He has never lost to anyone, but he has lost to this enemy team leader at this moment. It's terrifying, is really a kick full of anger, but I also know why your four-leaf clover empire is so angry. After all, your own country is invaded every now and then, and anyone else would be angry. Naruo's lotus was standing in the black smoke. At this time, he had seized the opportunity, but he did not rush to attack, but continued, "Our Diamond Empire has really caused you trouble, but there is no way to do this. Because of the lack of resources in our country, people are living very hard. If you don't come to grab some of your resources, you really can't survive." Smoke magic. Luck in midair didn't listen to Naraku's tirade at all, and only analyzed the enemy's intelligence in a limited time. Actually, the uncle has 3 daughters, but the conditions are so difficult. If you want them to survive, you must do something, but in unnecessary circumstances, the uncle really didn't fight anyone. Naraku's lotus continued to express her war weariness, hoping to use this to persuade Luck to quit. After all, the most important task of this magic palace was to snatch treasures rather than kill enemies, but he obviously persuaded the wrong person. If Luck were someone else, maybe he would have chosen to reach the treasure hall instead of fighting because of the principle of mission, but Luck is a combative fighting maniac, and these words are obviously just useless work. It doesn't matter what you said. I'm not interested in hearing you talk about why your country invaded. I just need to know that I can fight against powerful guys. Luck took a chance and swooped down like a goshawk, but this time Lotus was not so lucky, or Naraku was still immersed in the tragedy of Diamond Kingdom, so Luck still cut a hole in his right face after rushing to avoid it. It was really being watched by a terrible guy, and the uncle was almost crying helplessly. Although Leon was said that he was about to cry, his eyes were always as calm as water, and there was no wave at all, which meant that the battle situation was always under his control. At the same time, Asta was coming here with Null, but many strange trap magics were triggered along the way, such as ghost-like magical creatures. Of course, Asta was very happy when encountering these unexpected situations, because Null always he would hug him without saying a word, and then rub and rub against him with two just mature little villains, not to mention it feels pretty good. However, trap magic is not necessarily good. Once encountered a zero-gravity zone, Noel's whole body was tossing, but this skirt was a little anti-gravity, and it didn't have a luscious bottom, which was somewhat unnerving. What a powerful magic, Asta, I feel luck, but his lightning magic seems to be suppressed by another person's magic at the moment. Noel suddenly preached as he walked. A thorny enemy appears. Asta lowered his gaze. Luck's combat power was obviously not to be underestimated, but at this time he was also pushed into a corner by the enemy. It seems that the enemy has a lot of background, but I don't know how many points it can add to his maul points. Uncle really doesn't want to pluck off the buds by hand, especially since you seem to be the same age as my daughters, so you just fell into my smoke-weak body magic, the smoking garden of invasion, so you should obey your body's instinct. Slowly fall to the ground, so that the uncle will not see you, and you will not be fatal except for weakness in the next time. Quote. Lotus looked at Luck, who was held by the magic of his smoke, the smoke-bound cross, and he was indeed inferior to Luck in terms of destructive power, but fighting was never just about a person's attack power, especially in times of extreme war. Sometimes killing people doesn't have to be a real sword. In fact, from the very beginning, Luck fell into the huge net he weaved like a moth. When his subordinates were fighting against Luck, he looked like he was watching the mountain and tigers fight, but in fact he had been waiting for the opportunity to use his smoke to weaken his body. In order to prevent Luck from noticing, he compressed the magic power to the limit, and then released it little by little, so he looked lazy when his subordinates were knocked down, but actually did a lot. It can be said that the situation of this battle was under his control from beginning to end, but Luck's tenacity was beyond his expectations. After being hit by weakness magic, he could still burst out such a powerful lightning magic power, if he didn't kill it now. So there are endless troubles, which is why he changed his original intention of not killing Luck. I can't lose yet. Luck opened his eyes reluctantly. He couldn't fail. Because failure means losing his mother's love forever. But at this time, his body was completely shackled by the smog that was hard to break free, and the stubborn smoke even his mouth. His body was constantly weakened by suffocation, and under the haze shrouded in death, he was no longer able to pursue victory. This kind of obsessive eyes, it seems that you have been bound by something and it is very painful, then let me help you free. Naruo's Lotus preached here, with murderous intent in his eyes, but just when he was about to end all this, he suddenly seemed to hear the sound of a giant dragon cutting through the sky, and then he saw his black smoke as if the darkness of the night was suddenly cut by a beam of light. As if it was broken, the entire smoke creation magic, the smoke-bound cross prison was smashed by a sword. At this time, Naruo's Lotus only realized it later. It turned out that the sound of the dragon roar just now was the sound of the giant sword cutting through the space. Luck, now is not the time to despair, because you still have teammates. Asta sighed. This character is a bit extreme. In addition to looking for someone to fight every day, he is looking for someone to fight. The boy who seems to be very happy is actually very lonely. Although he didn't know what caused Luck to form such a character, there is no doubt that he must have the same dark childhood memories as Gaara, otherwise it wouldn't be like this. Now that he is also a member of Black Bull, then nor will it sit idly by. 66. Who are you? Your aura is even stronger than that of Thunderbolt Boy. Naraku's Lotus gave a speech in amazement. He originally thought that Thunderbolt Boy's momentum was enough to be aggressive, but when he saw Asta, he realized what it meant to be like a dragon. He just cut him off with a sword and created magic smoke. Binding the cross prison was enough for him to be serious. The dress is already obvious, isn't it? Asta brought his sword to the front of the crowd, Noel followed, and Luck squatted on the ground and fell into a magical barrier. It's the teammates here. I always thought Raiden Jr. didn't have teammates, but it's good to have teammates. Strong teammates make people feel at ease. You guys from the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom are doing really well, each one is better than the other. Imposing. Don't the kings know what our guys in Diamond Kingdom are doing? Naraku's Lotus Flower seems to have a bunch of fingers. Oh, so you have an accomplice. Asta's face is calm, his eyes have changed to blood red for the first time, his energy and chakra have also maintained their peak state, and the lion is fighting the rabbit with all his strength, not to mention that he has not yet become the lion that roars in the mountains. It's really a dangerous look. It seems that no matter which country is committed to cultivating young people, uncle, I suddenly want to run away. Naraku's lotus finally showed a strange look this time, because the battle situation has completely changed with the appearance of Asta, and he can no longer control the overall situation like a web weaver. You can't escape, because you are my prey. And I don't need teammates, I can solve you alone. Luck raised his head suddenly, but at this time his eyes became very strange, as inhumane as a hunting beast. Quote. Noel was a little afraid of Luck in this state, so he leaned closer to Asta unconsciously. The guy who wants to be autistic, he really can't pull it back. Asta pouted helplessly, this Luck's inner demon is not ordinary deep. It's really tenacious, but you can't beat Uncle Me alone. Naraku's lotus flower turned into black smoke, and then walked backwards. I will overcome you by my own strength, or I will lose my mother's love, and without my mother's love I will have nothing. Luck fell into a demon and rushed towards Naruo's lotus flower. He was in a state of extreme madness at this time, as if a drowning person was holding a life-saving straw. That fleeting feeling made him lose his mind. In this state, Luck, despite the explosion of magic power, has also degenerated into a wild beast in his fighting skills. He just relies on brute force to fight against Naraku's lotus, so he immediately falls into the disadvantage. Asta, what should we do? Really don't care. Noel is a little anxious. After all, this is their teammate, and watching her teammates get injured or even die is something she can't do. Of course not. Asta picked up his sword and rushed out immediately. With his participation in the battle, Naraku's lotus, who had been fighting and retreating, was immediately stretched. What a terrifying speed, how can it be faster than Raiden Boy? What kind of magic is this? No, is this a pure physical explosion? Naraku's lotus hid in the black smoke and looked at Asta, who joined the battle group in shock. He couldn't imagine that today, when magic is popular, there would still be people who practice taijutsu, who has limited growth. And this is not what surprised him the most. What surprised him the most was what a freak the boy in front of him was. To have trained taijutsu to such a degree, this is enough to threaten any magician's power. I don't want your help. Luck stared at Asta fiercely with beast-like eyes. In the agreement with his mother, he promised to rely on his own strength to defeat any strong enemy, so he does not need a partner. You can do what you want, but in the same way, I will do what I want. So, as a companion, how could I let you fight alone? Asta's eyes were full of unalterable firmness. Since he decided to break Luck's heart, then the King of Heaven couldn't persuade him. Maybe it was Asta's resolute eyes that touched Luck, or maybe it was Asta's loud voice that touched Luck. Anyway, Luck seemed to have suddenly caught something, and the figures of the black bulls quickly passed through his mind. There are Head Yami who takes care of them like a big brother next door, Magna who is noisy but loyal, Finral who hates war, Vanessa who likes alcoholism, Charmy who is gluttonous, Gordon who has no sense of existence, and Asta and Noel, who had just joined the Black Bull's family. Luck suddenly realized that he didn't have a mother, he wasn't alone, he had companions. Suddenly it feels more fun to fight with everyone. Luck suddenly said something nonsensical. It seems that Naruto's ability to influence the world with his mouth, I have also learned. Asta was a little overjoyed. After all, this was the first time to use the mouth escape, and I didn't expect the effect to be so good, and it suddenly opened the heart of the troubled boy. Betch, it's a bit bad now. To join forces, it seems that the uncle has to use some real skills. Naraku's lotus frowned and saw that after Grimoire turned to a new page, black smoke instantly swept the entire battle area like a black waterfall rushing out. Large-scale magic is really a headache. Asta jumped backwards, forming an offensive and defensive horn with Noel and Luck. Smoke creates magic, Falling King's smoke prison. As Naraku's lotus voice fell, the black smoke had already surrounded Asta and others, and the lotus looked at the ending with satisfaction. I can't escape, young man. So confident. Open the door. Human. Asta opened the second door smoothly, and evenly distributed the surging Zakla from his body on his feet, waist, crotch, arms, and attached to the sword of destruction. Shish. This seems to be a sword that can tear apart the space and ruthlessly disperse the smoke screen, but the escape route is quickly blocked again. Split. Split my smoke hell. Naruo's lotus widened his eyes and stared at this terrifying scene in astonishment. Since he used this magic, there has never been a precursor to being swept away by the enemy. Although the gap was quickly healed by thick smoke, this super magic. Not bad. Asta nodded. This smoke prison seems to be inexhaustible, but as long as it is the magic power displayed by people, it will eventually be exhausted, so, let's see who is more skilled. Ha! Asta exerted force on both feet, and through the hinge of his waist and crotch, his arm swung out another full blow, this time also splitting the thick smoke screen a distance of about 15 meters. Is this kid a monster? This magic consumes mana in the first place, and now after he slashes like this, the mana that maintains the smoke prison is like a bottomless pit. Naruo's lotus was extremely depressed at this time. Originally, his magic power was enough to consume these 3 young people to death, but he obviously didn't expect Asta to be so perverted, and he used his own strength and a sword to slash his smoke prison opened. Shish! Asta exerted his strength again, and this time the strength also tore a gap. Although the black smoke healed again, the healing speed this time was obviously much slower than the previous 2 times. It was obviously very effective. I don't believe he can keep slashing. Naraku's lotus touched the beads of sweat on his forehead. His magic power is now as frantically consumed as if someone was cut to the aorta, but he doesn't believe that this level of power Asta can keep cutting down, so now it's more than ruthless when the time comes, see who can't stand it first. The 4th sword. Asta's anger sinks into his dantian, and every time he slashes, he consumes a huge amount of zakla and physical strength, but isn't youth constantly surpassing his own limits? More importantly, even if he runs out of energy, he still has luck and Null by his side. And Naruo's lotus is alone, that's why he dares to fight the war of attrition. Can you cut? Naraku's lotus eyelids twitched wildly. If he slashed like this, his magic power would only be able to resist this level of slashing 3 times. The 5th sword. At this moment, the smoke prison of the fallen king is shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. At its peak, the diameter can reach 30 meters, but now it is less than 15 meters. I can't go on. I didn't expect 4-leaf Clover to have such a perverted teenager. I really can't stand it. Uncle, why don't you just slip away? Naruo's lotus flower retreated, and Grimoire immediately opened the lazy car of the smoke creation magic, and saw that a locomotive mobility magic was formed immediately. I can't take it anymore. Asta was sweating profusely at this time, and I have to say that every time I strike with all my strength, it is still very exhausting. It was too late to say that. Asta took out a bottle of healing potion and drank it, and his physical strength really recovered. Beautiful Asta, Luck praised, and instinctively wanted to surpass Naraku's lotus, but was stunned to find that the other party had escaped. Not only did he escape alone, but also the Diamond Kingdom mages who had been defeated by him before ran away with smoke rolls. And the speed of escape is so fast that even he can't catch up. This, just ran away without any style. Noel is a little surprised. After all, this is a figure from the same generation of the leader, but I didn't expect to escape when I said escape. Haha, while you still have some strength, it's better to run away than to fight to the end. Naraku's lotus is very happy. After all, escaping from death is a pleasant thing in itself, not to mention that he bought so much time for Mars. I believe that even if there are wizards from the 4-leaf Clover Kingdom going to the treasure hall, they should without these 2 teenagers perverted. Not to mention, he is really a little curious now, is the strongest war machine created by their Diamond Kingdom powerful or has no magic power, relying on taijutsu and Asta with a great sword? He should have gone to the treasure hall, so let's keep up, or else we will be preempted by the people of Golden Dawn. Asta put away the swordsmanship of breaking the devil. What I'm saying is, although I really want to give him the final blow, but now is not the time to do anything else, we have to hurry up to the treasure hall to complete the task. Luck said with a smile. How dare you say it? Noel complained that if Luck hadn't acted privately, they would have arrived at the treasure hall by now, and they wouldn't have been ridiculed by the people of Golden Dawn. Hey, I'm starting to sense the location of the treasure hall now. Luck closed his eyes, and the perceptual magic quickly expanded, but just for a moment he suddenly opened his eyes. What's the matter? How is this magic so powerful? What are you saying? Noel asked incredulously. It turns out that the strongest person is someone else. Luck's trembling sermon. Is this the powerful companion that Uncle said? Asta adjusted his breath, and then followed Luck's footsteps and rushed towards the depths of the magic palace. This time, because Luck, who has the ability to perceive magic, led the way. It was unobstructed all the way. Just as Asta and the others were rushing towards the treasure hall, the three of had successfully arrived at the treasure hall. It's really majestic. Mimosa looked at the splendid gate in front of him and couldn't help sighing at the wisdom of the ancients. HMPH, the magic palace is just like that. Klaus was pretending as always. Was silent as always. Even when he saw this ancient ruin, he didn't have much emotion. It seems that the Black Bulls haven't arrived yet. Mimosa looked around at the empty alley. Isn't that what it should be? How can the bottom be faster than our chief? Klaus said it, of course, but at this moment, a long diamond bridge from far to near quietly rushed to the door of the treasure hall, and Mimosa happened to be within the coverage of the long diamond bridge. Puff! Mimosa was instantly hit by the diamond bridge, and Klaus and turned around in astonishment. They didn't even realize when such a long diamond bridge appeared behind them. On the diamond bridge, there was a pink-eyed boy with his toes on his toes as if he was strolling in the courtyard. He looked at and the three with cold eyes. The diamond bridge knocked Mimosa into the air, and it didn't affect him at all. You are the wizard of the Diamond Kingdom. Are all the wizards of the Diamond Kingdom some despicable villains who even attacked a girl from behind? Klaus looked at the pink-eyed boy on the long bridge angrily, and the identity of the boy was distinguished from the accessories on the boy's clothes. I don't know what you're talking about, no matter which one is a pebble on the side of the road. The pink-eyed youth preached without wavering in his eyes, and after he finished speaking, it seemed that he really took the three Klaus in front of him as stones on the side of the road, and he picked up majestic diamond crystals and rushed towards the three of them. Unforgivable. Klaus gritted his teeth, and immediately used the sharp gun, but he went all out and only fought a tie with the pink-eyed boy. How is it possible that this guy did not even open the grimoire to cast such a powerful magic? Klaus was shocked. Although he didn't want to admit it, he was indeed worse than the pink-eyed boy. At this time, Mimosa had lost his ability to fight. It can be said that their Golden Dawn situation was very dangerous. At this time, a strong sense of mission told he can only lose the car to keep him handsome. While I'm at war with him, hurry up and enter the treasure hall. Klaus turned his head and said in a hurried voice. But he is very strong. If you don't have support, you will have no chance of winning even as a senior. Worried. Don't worry about this, I told you to hurry up. For the safety of the country, the task takes priority over everything else, and now only you can complete this task. Klaus said righteously that it is a matter of time before he will lose in the current situation, but as long as he can hold out until enters the treasure hall and takes the lead in obtaining powerful magic tools and ancient magic, then fundamentally speaking, they are still finished. Task. To this end, he sacrificed his own life to give enough time. Gritted his teeth, knowing that now is not the time to be self-willed, but as long as he turns his head now, then Klaus may be defeated or even killed in the next second. That's why he is so hesitant. Not leaving yet. Do you all want to die here needlessly? Klaus hates the way iron is not steel. Be careful. Weighed the pros and cons, turned his head and ran towards the treasure hall. The best way to do it now is as Klaus said, he turned around and left alone, so that he could still complete the task, but the price was to abandon his teammates, regardless of them. Life and death. That's right, idiot. Klaus was comforted in his heart. 2 deaths are better than 3 deaths, I hope can escape this time. But when he was distracted to observe the pink-eyed boy was like a precise machine, so wonderful that when Klaus was distracted, he formed a huge diamond crystal toward Klaus. Smashed down suddenly. It's over. Klaus seems to have seen himself being crushed to death by diamonds at this moment, because in such a sudden situation, he can't escape at all. However, at this moment, a strong wind magic came first, smashing the diamond crystal. Why do you want to come back? Even if you are alone, you must reach the treasure hall first. Klaus said angrily. After defeating that guy, the 3 of us will go in together. Said word by word. His eyes were not swaying at the moment, that is to say, in front of partners and tasks, he chose partners. This is because Asta once said to him that although they are not related by blood, the bond between them is deeper than those who are related by blood. So whether it is a current partner or a future partner, both treat it like the most important family member. It was also at this time that realized that Asta had such a deep influence on him. The 3 go in together. Klaus was shocked by this sentence for a long time, including the weak Mimosa. There was something more in her beautiful eyes. This feeling is called fetters. I'm going to show my real skills. Yuno looked at the pink-eyed boy earnestly. His robe was swaying without wind at this moment, and the violent magic power burst out. Klaus was shocked to realize that the one beside him was being simultaneously attacked by the 9 magic knights. Chosen astonishing genius. But at this moment, what Klaus can't think of is not only Yuno, but also Asta without magic. Originally, he had always been noncommittal about Asta's victory over Yuno, and thought it was nothing, but after seeing Yuno's strength, he was shocked to see how strong Asta must be to defeat such an amazing genius. However, what shocked Klaus even more was still to come. At this time, strands of feather-like wind magic floated out from Yuno's experience, and these feather-like white shapes finally converged into a sharp-edged eagle. But this is not over yet. There are countless bronze sword-like wind magics before Bai Ying, which means that Yuno used 2 kinds of magic at the same time. This kind of manipulation of magic power is simply outrageous. Wind creation magic. The white eagle of the gale and the rain of karma of the wind blade. Yuno pointed it out with one hand, and the white eagle and the wind blade whistled towards the pink-eyed boy swept away. The sword cuts the white eagle. The pink-eyed boy turned his body slightly, and then the diamond magic power surged out, and a diamond-long sword with a length of more than 10 meters was formed in an instant, and then after a short period of power accumulation, the diamond giant sword slashed down like a broken bamboo, and the white eagle was in the same wind. The blade slashed and fell to the ground like catkins. What kind of monster is this? Klaus looked at this scene in disbelief, knowing that until now the wizard of Diamond Kingdom hadn't even taken out the grimoire. Yuno is not an opponent either. Is it over? Mimosa lay in despair in the flower cage of her plant recovery magic, dream healing, unable to imagine that the opponent they encountered this time was so powerful. It's not over yet. After a brief stupor, Yuno regained his fighting spirit in an instant, but his magic seemed to be restrained, and it didn't have any effect on the pink-eyed boy at all. Your magic is useless to me. Get out of the way or die. A trace of impatience flashed in the eyes of the pink-eyed boy. He had been blocked by these 3 people for too long. He had no patience to wait. Yuno. Klaus watched the giant sword fall in despair, and as a senior, he was incapable of saving Yuno, but at this moment, he seemed to see a green light flying towards the extreme, and then heard a click. The indestructible diamond sword actually cracked. There is no illusion. This is what Asta did. Klaus's eyes widened in amazement. He didn't expect that the diamond magic that made them helpless at Golden Dawn was actually blocked by the Black Bulls members whom he had always looked down on. At this moment, he only felt a burning pain in his cheeks. To say that such people are rubbish is not slapping their own face. Next, leave it to me. After Asta blocked the diamond sword, he tilted his head and smiled. I didn't expect to owe you favor again, Yuno said with a wry smile. From childhood to adulthood, every time he encountered threats, Asta seemed to shield him from the wind and rain. From the robbers he met when he was sending a letter to the mayor when he was a child, to the chain magic Revchi he encountered in Grimoire, and then up to now, the pink-eyed boy has Asta stepped forward in every crisis. It seems that he will never be able to repay Asta's kindness in this lifetime. Mimosa, are you all right? At the same time, Noel and Luck also rushed over, and Noel saw the injured Moza at the first time. I'm slowly recovering, so you can see how embarrassed I am, but like Sister Noel said, I'm really slow. Mimosa smiled reluctantly. That's why I want to protect you. Noel turned around, waving his staff in his hand, and Grimoire beside him immediately turned to the lair of the water creation magic, the sea dragon. Soon, a small protective cover shone outside Mimosa's dream healing flower cage. This caring scene made Mimosa unable to hold back the tears in her eyes. Asta, I didn't expect you to be faster than me, and now I want to fight you more and more. Luck couldn't help but said, he has always been confident in his speed, but only now has he realized that he is not as fast as Asta, who relies purely on physical strength. It turns out that the 3rd member of Black Bull is the ecstatic Luck. Klaus looked at Luck in amazement. He was definitely a formidable opponent. If it hadn't caused controversy by causing excessive damage to his opponent in the Magic Knight's exam, he would definitely be a genius who was rushing for by many captains. At this moment, Klaus felt very frustrated. The Golden Dawn, the dignified chief magic group, was even beaten by the black bull at the bottom. Look, what have you done to my important family? Asta restrained his smile and looked directly at the Magus warrior of Diamond Kingdom. It seems that this is the strongest Magus warrior sent by Diamond Kingdom this time, but I don't know what is special about it. So what? The strong will stay until the end, and the weak will be killed. Isn't this normal? The pink-eyed boy spoke indifferently. Another Gara. When Asta heard this sentence, his brain was buzzing instantly. There are really many problem children in this world, but he has no interest in saving them one by one. If they are enemies, just kill them. In this world, the weak have no value to exist, and I was born to destroy your talents. After the pink-eyed boy finished speaking, he only heard the sound of diamonds colliding, and then a large number of diamond clones were condensed. Is there no limit to his magic power? He can release so many diamond clones. Klaus was startled again. Facing such a formidable opponent, he had no confidence at all, but on the other hand, the three black bulls were full of fighting spirit. Young man, you are so arrogant. Asta swooped forward, and the sword of demon breaking showed an unstoppable trend. Wherever it went, the diamond clone that was previously indestructible in front of the Golden Dawn was like a turkey, and it collapsed at the touch of a button. The pink-eyed boy was finally moved. He didn't expect that his proud diamond defense would be so vulnerable in front of this boy from the four-leaf Clover Kingdom. In his hand, a diamond giant sword of the same size as before was instantly condensed and slashed. Your magic is also useless to me. Asta returned the original sentence of what the pink-eyed boy said to Yuno, and then used his feet to charge straight up. The diamond giant sword was like a chicken and a dog, and it was smashed without even a fight. The sword slammed hard on the pink-eyed youth, and the pink-eyed youth spit out a mouthful of blood and fell into the water. What? Yuno and I just couldn't make the boy with pink eyes move a step, but he actually knocked the boy with a sword flying. Klaus looked shocked, but he was not the only one who was shocked at this time. Null, Luck, Yuno, including the seriously injured Mimosa, everyone looked at Asta in amazement. No one thought that Asta could be so powerful. Fortunately, I didn't miss the good show, but this four-leaf clover boy is too strong, right? In fact, Naraku's lotus did not escape very far, but after throwing off Asta and the others, he used the smoke that created magic in Hermit, and followed Asta and others secretly. I can't imagine that this teenager from four-leaf clover can beat Mars so badly. Are you saying Mars will lose? The magician of the Diamond Kingdom who had been injured earlier also woke up, and at this moment, they all watched this scene in shock. Who's to say? But this young man from four-leaf clover is indeed a bit perverted. Originally, I thought that Mars would be able to fight with him, but now it seems that he has been suppressed. Naruo's lotus glanced at the battle situation and said, anyway, the result will not be determined now, we should hurry up and move the gold. To be honest, the uncle has grown up so much, and he has never seen such a magnificent place. Ah. You really have a big heart. There was no other way for a skirt, so he had to start carrying gold under the cover of Naraku's lotus. After Mars was shot down into the water, he was completely angry. The grimoire he left in midair gave off a very dazzling light, and then the entire water surface seemed to suddenly freeze with countless diamond crystals. Bang bang bang. The sound of diamonds crystallized on the water surface one after another, and this mutation attracted the attention of the people who were with him. Titan's heavy armor. Mars roared and jumped up from the water, and the diamonds attached to him at this time set off his giant-like, diamond armor so thick, almost invincible. It's a pity that he met Asta. Open the door. Human. Asta opened the second gate again. His current body is no longer suitable for opening the 8 inner gates, but since today is destined to be a day beyond the limit, then he has to go crazy. Asta opened the second door. Chakra in the body became crazy again. But at this time his body load had reached the current limit, so even with cumin, which can relieve fatigue, his body began to tingle. The stone in the way, give me death. Mars threw an angry punch. This was a punch covered with many diamond crystals, and it weighed more than a ton, so the impact of this punch was no small matter. Can beat me. After Asta opened the 8 inner gates, his speed soared to the extreme, and a dodging sprint came to Mars. Mars subconsciously blocked with his left arm, but this heavy sword directly smashed the diamond crystal on his left arm. Who are you? There is a hint of fear in Mars' eyes. He has never felt so powerless since he left the experimental base, and he can't hurt the person in front of him no matter how much he hits. You talk too much. After Asta landed and jumped up again, his body was already overloaded, so what he had to do was to fight quickly. Mars was blocked by his right arm. This time Asta directly split his diamond right arm, and split Mars directly out of the Titan armor. Ah, it's really amazing, it actually split Mars out of the armor. Naraku's Lotus had a very wonderful expression on his face at this time. He had always thought that Mars, who knew dual magic, was the most perverted boy in the world, but now after seeing Asta, he realized what it means to be unreasonable and powerful. No matter how many series of magic tricks you know, people can actually nullify magic directly. Are you angry? Lord Lotus, what should I do now? The wizards of the Diamond Kingdom all said that they are panicking now. They thought that with the protection of Lord Lotus and the attack of Mars, the secret weapon, even if they encountered the wizards of the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom in this mission, they could directly crush them, but I didn't expect that it was my side who was crushed, and was still hung and beaten by one person from start to finish. In this case, I can only pull Mars to sneak away. Naruo's Lotus looked at the lazy car that was already full of treasures, and immediately started the lazy car without hesitation to start the escape journey. What about people? Luck and the others were about to make up for the knife, but they were stunned to find that Mars had disappeared after landing. Ran away. Klaus was a little surprised, wondering how this was done. Stealth magic. Asta was shaky after landing, and his body was already overwhelmed by this time. Asta, are you all right? Noel ran to Asta worriedly. The appearance of Asta now is very worrying. Obviously no one has hit him, but Asta's skin is abnormally red, and the epidermis has been cracked in some places. This is the body sequelae after high load. The mages of this world can't be underestimated. Asta put away the sword of breaking the devil, although the two wizards of Diamond Kingdom are not his opponents, but also relying on powerful magic, he has to carry out overloaded battles again and again. It can be said that the people of Diamond Kingdom are dragging their time a little longer, and he'll be the one to fall first. It seems that I have to increase the amount of training, and the upgrade of the Hokage Mall is also imminent. When Asta saw Noel coming, she simply pretended to be relieved and lay directly in Noel's arms, which made Noel blush and shouted in her heart that Asta is cheating. How could she just fall into her arms so easily? Dream Healing Flower Cage. After Mimosa recovered from his injuries, he rushed to Asta's side and immediately cast his recovery magic. Mr. Asta, you have to cheer up, you are not fighting alone. As this recovery magic, it feels a lot lighter all of a sudden. Originally, Asta pretended to close his eyes, but after feeling Mimosa's healing magic, he opened his eyes in amazement. Originally, in such a high-load battle, even with chakra's nourishment, his body would be damaged to varying degrees. But now these losses seem to be recovering quickly, and with the anxious Mimosa looking a little cute at this time, Asta's mood suddenly improves, and finally, fortunately, he turned over and rolled directly into Mimosa's arms. Ah! Mimosa looked at Asta in her arms in a panic, and was instantly stunned. Forgive her for living 15 years young and ignorant, she really didn't know how to deal with such a boy who suddenly fell into her arms. And holding Asta in her arms, she suddenly realized that Asta is really handsome, her silver hair is not as thorny as she imagined, and at this moment, she thinks that Asta is seriously injured. She can't help but like to comfort an animal. Brushed Asta's hair. Actually, I can do it. Noel doesn't know why his heart is very delicious, as if he saw something he loved being taken away by someone else. He quickly hugged Asta back into his arms. This time it was very tight, and he was not afraid of being taken by others. Said. Ah, okay. Mimosa recovered after a brief period of days, and then remembered that Asta and Noel were the team members. After casting the flower cage of dream healing, he hurriedly went to check the other people's injuries. Ah, it's really full of blood. Asta swayed restlessly in Noel's arms a few times before standing up as if he had just been rescued. Stupid Asta, your skin is still a little red, are you sure it's better? Noel said arrogantly. It's fine. Go back and apply the healing potion and you'll be fine, but how are we going to get in this big guy? Asta looked at the doorway of the treasure hall, which could almost be described as towering into the clouds. Everyone hadn't entered yet. The treasures outside were piled up like mountains. We are also discussing this issue all the time. There may be a magical mechanism that opens the door. Klaus pushed his glasses, very scholarly preaching. Asta rolled his eyes at him and pushed his glasses before speaking. Most of these people like to put onions in their noses to pretend to be bachelors. In fact, they don't have any ink in their hearts. As expected, they are dumbfounded. Hey, let me take a look. Luck walked to the door of the treasure hall and stuck his palm on it, and then the lightning magic penetrated into it. After a while, Luck said, Asta, this door seems to be made of magic, come and chop it. Got it. Asta happily agreed. Look at this, it's not a lot of cruel words. Everyone really has to follow Klaus's idea to find the mechanism to open the door, and we don't know that we can't enter until the year of the monkey. Humph, how could it be so simple to open the door, and maybe some other mechanism would be triggered, I advise you not to. Mars stopped abruptly in the middle of his speech, because Asta had already split with 2 knives. Yes, he had no dazzling eyes. This TM and the epic difficulty problem in front of him was solved by the Black Bull in 2 seconds. At this moment I just feel sorry for the organization. Senior of the King, don't be so sad, Asta has always been so beautiful. Patted Mars on the shoulder in relief. Whoever is sad, let's go in too. After all, we arrived here first, and we'll see later. This is an exception to let them in too, so good treasures can't be preempted by them. After Klaus forcibly explained a wave, he rushed in quickly, and then Rao, who was born into a noble family, was also stunned by the pomp inside. Gudong, you got rich. My eyes were flashed. Everyone just felt that their titanium alloy eyes were not enough, and the treasure in front of them was more than the dung outside. Hey, don't destroy the scene, we have to maintain it until Lord Magic Emperor sends someone to receive it. Claw's super decent preaching. Receive a fart. Asta rolled his eyes. Although money has no temptation for him now, it is really cool to be able to sleep on a mountain of gold and silver. So beautiful. Mimosa picked up a red cloak and measured it. He didn't expect the ancient fabric to feel so good. What is this? Noel was attracted by a colorful bubble. He couldn't help poking it with his little finger. The bubble immediately shook like it was about to burst. Put her up. How interesting. Noel laughed happily. But this scene was painfully seen by Klaus. I said that you should not move around casually. Anything here may be a national treasure level magic tool. But after he shouted, everyone was still playing with each other, no one pays attention to him. This light spot seems to be taking me somewhere. Looked at the spot of light that had been shaking in front of his eyes, followed it 2 steps and found a scroll exuding wind magic. What is this? Picked up the scroll. The text on it had never been seen before, but when he was thinking about what was written on it, the 4-leaf clover grimoire on his waist suddenly radiated a green glow like the scroll, and then the two were like mutual induction of the general light converged together to emit a dazzling light. What happened? Everyone was attracted by this scene. The text has disappeared. After the light dissipated, was surprised to find that the text on the scroll in his hand turned out to be news. What's going on? Klaus and Mimosa walked up to I don't know what happened. Looked blank. Then put it back, don't be unruly like a black bull. Klaus rode. Cut, you 4-eyed boy. Asta rolled his eyes after hearing this, but when he turned around, he found that Xiaohei didn't know when it was posted, and was about to take him to a place at this time. By the way, you seem to have found a gem last time, do you still find it this time? Asta happily followed Xiaohei, and soon came to see the wall inlaid with gold mirrors. Xiaohei kept pecking at the wall as if to say that there was something behind. Go, betch. Asta pulled out the sword of severing demons and it was a sword, and when he walked in, he found a pitch-black long sword. Ding dong. Detected the sword of the old demon, is it loaded? Sword of the ancient demon. It's really exciting to hear the name. Okay to load. Asta nodded, feeling that this trip to the Magic Palace was not in vain. 0.1%, 2%, 3%, 28%, 57%, 99%, 0.100%. Successful loading. Sword of the ancient demon. It can absorb the magic power of others into the sword, and swing a slash with the same attributes. It looks good, which means I can borrow other people's magic. Asta's eyes lit up, so that he could perfectly control each other's attributes, such as using the magic of water nature to deal with the magic of fire attributes, to achieve twice the result with half the effort. However, just after he put away the sword of the old demon, the underground palace suddenly shook. What happened? Asta rushed out of the dark room and found the entire underground palace shaking. I don't know what happened, but the underground palace is about to collapse. Claus said nervously. Let's go. Yuno hurriedly used the windlass arc, but the height was a bit high. Asta simply held a mimosa in one hand and a knoll in the other. After holding the two on the arc, Mimosa quickly used the road sign of the magic flower to unfold the 3D model of the underground palace. Come and show Yuno the way. Stupid Asta, are you used to hugging me and hug me when you rush up? Knoll was so angry that she was hugged by Asta without even reacting just now. Is she a dignified princess who is shameless? Can she just hug her? Look at Mimosa, he thanked me after he hugged him just now. Since they are relatives, why is there such a big gap? Asta runs. Humph. Knoll gave a heavy snort, annoyed this time, and swore that he would never say a word to Asta again until he went back. By the way, Knoll, your skirt is torn. Since Asta was sitting on the ark at this time, he saw that Knoll's skirt was broken. Where? Knoll hurriedly covered his skirt, for fear of making a fool of himself, and finally found a corner of the skirt torn, but there was no bottom. The two of you should stop arguing, now is a dangerous time, don't help clean up the falling stones. Klaus is speechless, this flirtatious dialogue is a bit too much. Get used to it, Luck said calmly. As a member of Black Bull, he was used to the quarrel between Knoll and Asta. At the same time, in the direction of the Diamond Kingdom, a locomotive made of black smoke was flying. It's a pity that I couldn't see the inside of the treasure hall, but it's good enough to save a life in front of such a ferocious young man. Naruo's Lotus smiled contentedly, and this time it wasn't without gain, at least it was a rewarding achievement, and now his 3 daughters can live a good life for a while. Fana. The comatose Mars kept reciting this name, which was his obsession and the reason why he became emotionless. In my memory, the final trial was to kill everyone around me, and only one of the boys and girls who were secretly cultivated could survive. This is a cruel and inhumane trial. Those who want to win must not only be strong, but also unfeeling and loving. After all, who can be ruthless unless they are plants and trees? It is impossible for everyone to have no feelings after being together for so long, especially though he is not related by blood to a girl named Fana, but they have a deep bond, and this trial the practice is to kill everyone including Fana with his own hands. So Mars was at a loss, and after he killed everyone who tried to kill him, there was only Fana left in front of him, the girl he never wanted to do. But Fana rushed over without hesitation, and he subconsciously raised his arm to block, and when he puts his arm down again, Fana is already dead under his diamond will crystallize. Chapter 71. Later, because of excessive sadness, Mars' memory also came to an abrupt end. After all, the person he liked most wanted to kill him, so he did not want to recall this past. But this coma reminded him of the past, it turned out. Fana committed suicide. She did that to keep herself alive. Go and see the outside world, even for my sake, together. These were the last words Fana said while lying in his arms. Oh, are you awake, Mars? Naraku's Lotus noticed Mars's strange move and preached. Everything, remembered. A tear fell from the corner of Mars' eyes, and he finally understood why his grimoire was put together with Fana's. It was because he wanted to live a good life for Fana. It's hard work. Thanks to you for this mission, we can have the opportunity to get so many treasures. Everyone can have a good few days now, the days are over. Naraku's Lotus sighed. Lotus, saved, thank you so much. Mars sincerely looked at Naraku's lotus flower. His heart knot was opened at this moment. That unfeeling young man will not come back. Really, this kind of thing, can't you say it properly? Naraku's lotus flower caressed his chin, and a smile flashed in his weathered eyes. He finally saw a touch of humanity in Mars' eyes, but this time the 4-leaf clover boy really opened his eyes. That sword-wielding boy is no match for Mars, who is a dual-type magician. I am afraid that the battlefield between the two countries will be even more cruel in the future. In the country of 4-leaf clover, Yuno rushed out of the exit of the magic palace in a windlass arc, and landed in front of the hillside where the 3 of Asta had just arrived. The magic palace is really in danger. Such a magnificent place will collapse if it collapses. Mimosa sighed while looking at the collapsed magic palace. It must be that you touched something, otherwise how could the magic palace collapse? Klaus roared in pain. not to mention whether there are national treasure level magic tools and magic. The gold alone is enough to relieve the financial pressure of the four-leaf clover kingdom. Sorry. Mimosa bowed her head in shame, feeling that the collapse of the magic palace might have something to do with her touching the red cloak repeatedly. Isn't it very common for this kind of ancient ruins to have sudden incidents? Maybe you are walking and stepping on some destructive mechanism without knowing it, and complaining about others here. Asta rolls his eyes. Is such a cute mimosa for roaring. That's for use, right, RBQ bigwigs. How is this possible? Klaus twitched the corners of his mouth, feeling like he had stepped on something unintentionally. Thank you, Mr. Asta. Mimosa looked at Asta gratefully. The feeling of being maintained is really good. Now she is a little jealous of Noel. Humph. Noel turned his head arrogantly. Messing with flowers, half-hearted, scumbag leader. Okay, let's go back and recover. 5. Luck stretched out boringly. Oh, Senior Luck, I suddenly feel a little dizzy. Maybe I inhaled too much poisonous gas when I fought with the guy who let out the black smoke, so I need to rest here for a while. Asta pretended to lie down on the lawn. At this time, the wind was sunny, the birds were singing and the flowers were fragrant. Coupled with the beautiful sunset and setting sun, it was really a perfect date place, as Finral said. Ah, let me help you see. Mimosa anxiously ran to Asta's side, but before she could cast her magic, Asta held her little hand. I'll rest for a while, you can go back with Yuno. Asta laughed. All right. Mimosa hesitated before jumping on the windlass ark. Don't I need to give you a ride? Yuno asked. It seems that the 3 black bulls don't have flying tools. Don't worry, we'll be back. Asta rode. Then let's go back first. Yuno nodded, and the windlass ark slowly floated above, and finally turned into a black dot. You drive them away, my lightning magic can't take you back. Luck laughed. Then how do we get back? Noel panicked. Is she going to walk? Even if she is a princess, when she returns to the Black Bull's headquarters, her fairy duo will become stinky feet. Do not know. Luck spread his hands, smiling innocently. Then Senior Luck will go back to find Finral to pick us up. Asta raised the corners of his lips. That's a good idea. Luck and Noel lit up at the same time. Then I'll go first. After Luck finished speaking, he turned into a lightning bolt and flew into the distance. Things are going well. Asta is lying on the ground comfortably, and it must be beautiful when the sun sets. What went well? Noel, like a frightened kitten, jumped away from Asta's side, and only then did she realize that she and Asta were the only two at the moment. When I came here, I heard Finral say that the sunset here is beautiful and it is a perfect place for a date. Asta pointedly looked at Noel. His eyes that had regained amber color just stared at Noel without blinking. Not good. It's the taste of love. Noel hurriedly turned her head. Her 2 little hands shyly stirred. She knew she would be so embarrassed, so she had the cheek to leave with Mimosa. Ha ha. Asta couldn't help laughing, then pointed to the lawn beside him, and said solemnly, let's lie down and have a look, there is not much time like this. Noel looked at Asta hesitantly. In fact, she also really longed to lie there like Asta without any image. I believe that this soft lawn must be very comfortable to lie on. But she also felt that there was always a kind of feeling when 2 people lay together. Unexplainable, ambiguous, and amid this hesitation, Asta spoke again. Noel, do you believe that life is fickle? Maybe it's sunny one moment, and the next moment it will be ashes. Asta sighed. He thought of Konoha, the Konoha who was almost destroyed in the war. Once, there was a very prosperous village. In fact, it is a village, it is better to describe it as a country. The magician in this village, the soldiers were very, very powerful. Almost everyone thought that the war would not come to this prosperous village. A devastating war swept over, and all the prosperity, fetters, love and hatred were all turned into ruins, just like the magic palace just now. Don't you just lie down, you need to make up such a sad story. Noel pursed his lips, then lay down next to Asta as if he was willing to do it, and was still close to Asta, the kind that 2 people can kiss just by tilting their heads slightly. Put your pillow on my arm. Asta stretched out his right arm thoughtfully, and Noel raised his head in unexpected cooperation. The 2 of them then lay quietly together, sniffing the fragrance of the soil and grass together, blowing the breeze like a willow and looking at the sky. Blue sky with white clouds. Asta, is the village you just said true? Noel asked after a long time, the girl is always sentimental, and she will sigh for a long time for a little thing, not to mention the tragedy that a man like the vicissitudes of life can't bear. Asta stared at Noel without speaking, because 600 felt that Noel had something to say for him, and as expected, Noel burst into tears. Are beautiful things really fleeting? If that's the case, I really want to gone together. The destruction of the magic palace and Asta's words made Noel think of a lot of things: the mother who had never been masked, the family that was longing for but out of reach, and Asta who couldn't tell the truth. At this moment, Noel felt very helpless. Help, she really wanted to grab these things and keep them by her side all the time. It was precisely because of the unexpected collapse of the atrium that she was so close to Asta. At this moment, Noel's crying pear blossoms are raining, and even the most hard-hearted people will soften their hearts when they see it, so Asta said with a hippie smile, "Of course I lied in my arms to lie to you." He squeezed Noel's small shoulder like that. Soul. Noel was so furious, he lifted Asta's mischievous arm and climbed up from the ground. Water bomb. Boom. Asta was shot so gorgeously. I'm going, you know, even that kid from the Diamond Kingdom just couldn't touch a single hair on me. Asta got up from the ground in embarrassment. This little girl has studied Peking opera, so if she changes her face, she will change her face. Deserved. Noel couldn't help laughing at Asta's dejected look, just as the space beside him fluctuated, and then Finral's head appeared. You two are really dating here. I wonder if I bothered you. Finral laughed mischievously. About AP. Noel almost couldn't hold back the foul language. Little know I and Asta come in, my sister is so worried about you. Vanessa's voice came out of the spatial fluctuations. I've heard what Luck has said about it, and it's all well done, kids. Yami's voice followed closely. Let's go. Asta got up and grabbed Noel's little hand and smiled. At this moment, his amber eyes were full of righteousness, which made Noel clenched Asta's hand in a weird way. I have to say that when Asta is serious, it is really exciting. As a senior, I appreciate your resilience this time. 95. Magna gave a thumbs up. Asta, Noel, I have a little cake for you. Charmy happily came to Asta with 2 cakes that he didn't want to eat. Thank you. Asta took the cake from Charmy's hand with a smile, and deliberately touched Charmy's little hand when taking the cake, which made Charmy's face instantly red as if he had eaten chili sauce, and said in a weak mosquito voice, "Steal. Peek at the fat perverts." Ha ha. Asta laughed and swallowed the cake, the first time Charmy had spoken to him since the bet. Dreaming, half-hearted, scumbag leader. Noel came again with a scumbag, and then ate his own cake with hatred, not to mention it was really delicious. I will personally report to the Magic Emperor for this mission. Maybe you will be rewarded by the Magic Emperor in person. It's not easy to even defeat Naraku's lotus flowers. Yami yawned. It's the lotus, Captain, Magna corrected. Yes, Yami frowned, as if a precursor to anger. No, I seem to have misremembered. It's the lotus flower named Naraku. Magna said that he was panicking now. How could the great leader be wrong? What about manners? Everyone stared at Magna, and they all said that they refreshed their 3 views a little. Oh, I remembered, it seems to be the lotus flower named Naraku, but it doesn't matter what it is called. Yami waved his hand to signal everyone to leave. Naro's lotus. Asta pondered as he left the hall. This is really a cunning enemy, and in the end, if it wasn't for his lazy car and hidden magic, several people in the Diamond Kingdom would have turned into fertilizer to nourish his Hokage Mall. But the bottom line is that he is not strong enough. If Sharingan is improving a few levels, wouldn't it be easy to see things like stealth magic? So, tomorrow he will go to Yami to ask if there are any combat missions, and the upgrade of the Hokage Mall is imminent. The next day, Asta was fully revived, first went to the forest to perform a series of warm-up exercises, and then went to the cafeteria to have a full meal. By the time he returned to the lobby, Yami had already returned from the Magic Emperor. You're awake, just fine. Yami called Noel and Asta to him. The Knights' headquarters would like to hear the report on the exploration of the Devil's Palace. You can go there in person in 7 days. The headquarters of the Knights. Noel panicked subconsciously, but there were many powerful nobles and royal families there, and she would definitely be laughed at when she went there. No, Asta refused quite simply, citing trouble, but unexpectedly got Noel's super adoring and grateful eyes. You kid, what a great opportunity this is. Head, don't worry, I'll take them there. Luck raised his hand eagerly. There are so many strong people there, if you really pull anyone, you can have a good fight. You will definitely make a big mess if you go, so you can't go. Yami directly refused. But they don't know the way. Luck argued with reason. So, I originally had a few combat missions that I wanted you to go to, but now it seems that I have to leave it to someone else. Yami exhaled a smoke ring. Combat missions. I go. Luck raised his hand excitedly. Combat missions. I want to go too. Asta's eyes also lit up. Originally, he was going to ask Yami, but he didn't expect it to be delivered to the door. It turns out that Asta wants to go too, but if you don't go to the headquarters of the Knights, there is no combat mission. Yami is playing a rogue way. Despicable. Asta rolled his eyes and dared to threaten him with this. It seems necessary to learn Erha's 100 house-breaking skills. But why 7 days later? Noel asked, if you have to go, why don't you go earlier, and now you have to wait 7 days, isn't that torture? You have to ask the Magic Emperor. Yami said he didn't know anything, he was just a language porter. It even alarmed the Magic Emperor, so I will definitely prepare a lot of delicious food by then. Charmy thought of this and immediately raised his hand. Captain Yami, I can go instead of Luck. No, how can you go, you only know how to eat all day. Yami directly refused. You said they were foodies. Charmy covered her face and left the hall. She decided that she must eat the poor black bull. The sister control player Ghosh looked around and found that all the crooked melons and cracked dates were left behind. Vanessa and Finral have a problem with their lifestyle. If they encounter any handsome guys and beauties, it will discredit the black bulls. As for Magna is even more irritable, and the effect of going is the same as that of Luck. If it doesn't work, it will make a mess, and Gordon and Gray, 2 guys with a super low sense of presence, not to mention, so the leader of the group will probably meet him. This glorious and arduous task is entrusted to him. Ghosh adjusted the neckline of his clothes and came to Yami, and said tactfully, Captain, I have to write letters to my angels every day. I'm very busy, so I can't go. Well, don't worry, no one will tell you to go. Yami nodded. Ghosh, okay, little know I should know how to get to the headquarters of the Knights. After all, it's in Wangguiji. Yami rode. Well, I know how to go. Noel is honest. Then it's time for the 2 of you to go, and now assign the combat tasks. Recently, the robbers of the Diamond Kingdom do not know who they have received, and they are madly pouring into our 4-leaf Clover Kingdom, so almost all the Knights or I received the task of eradicating the robber group of the enemy country. It is worth mentioning that there are many base areas of the robber group of the enemy country that were reported by the robber group of the country. Yami spews clouds and mists. Puff. Noel couldn't help laughing. What is it that the bases of many enemy robber groups are reported by their own robber groups, so are the colleagues who are enemies. The task of eradicating robbers. Exactly what I want. Asta felt his adrenaline soaring. He still remembered the Raptors robbers he met on the way to the capital. A rubbish robber group even gave him almost 20,000 mall points. Rich rhythm. So how many combat missions do we have? Luck also said excitedly. There are 3 in total, 2 are in a hurry, 1 is not in a hurry. Let's talk about the more urgent first. In the Virgin Forest next to Mobe Village, a large-scale enemy bandit group with more than 500 people has recently been stationed. Because he is good at hiding, Luck, Magna, you go. 5. Yami ordered. Yes, Luck and Magna nodded at the same time. A large enemy bandit group is also stationed at the junction of Longxi Village and Longbei Village, 700 miles south of Saishi Village. Let Asta and Finral handle it. Yami thought for a moment. Captain. You know people don't like to fight. Finral fretted. Don't worry, you happen to be in that place, and you are responsible for sending Asta there, and he will solve it later. 9. Yami waved his hand, indicating that he had considered these issues. It's not fair, why is this mission without me? Noel protested. Then you can go to Mobe Village with Luck and the others. Yami rode. Another. Noel blushed. She wouldn't tell Yami directly that she wanted to be with Asta. Follow Finral then. Yami rode. Noel nodded reluctantly, and then his pink eyes met Asta's narrow gaze. What are you looking at? Nothing. Asta smiled without saying a word. Okay, let's go now, and if there is danger, let me go beyond the limit. Yami encouraged him to prepare to break up, and at this time Luck raised his hand high. Captain Knight, how do you arrange the third combat mission? Asked Luck. That's what I want to ask too. Asta does his part. You must know that these are all naked points. Whoever comes back first will be handed over to whoever. Yami waved his hand. Let's do it together, Magna. Luck grabbed Magna's hand excitedly. ... Magna felt a chill. Then let's go too. Finral waved at Asta and Noel, and the three of them were quickly teleported to Longxi village through space magic. Yohoo! The four-leaf clover kingdom is really rich, and the living environment is much better than the harsh diamond kingdom. Haha, I really came to the treasure land of feng shui. This kind of unscrupulous plundering really makes the uncle so happy. Help, who will save me? Little girl obediently reached the peak on the uncle's mount. As soon as the three of them arrived in Longxi village, they were surprised to see the robbers and the villagers who were plundered by them flying everywhere in the sky. It's more serious than we thought. Noel looked at the robbers as many as locusts, and his eyes were full of worry. These robbers in foreign countries are really dehumanizing. They wantonly throw magic in the air, and plunder the sky when they see beautiful women. This kind of blatant destruction is what the local robbers dare not, because the consequence of doing so is to be chased to death by the magic knights. I'll go first. Asta's amber eyes have turned blood red. At this time, he can clearly capture the flight path of every robber. Even without flying magic at this height, he can kill them one by one with his bouncing power. This situation, is it still a man if you don't fight? Finral's eyes also turned red, looking at the devastated village. These robbers really can't forgive. Water creation magic. Sea Dragon's Lair. Noel has entered a state of preparation, and a large-scale water defense magic protects a residential area before the fire magic cast by the robber. What? Such powerful magic is definitely not performed by the villagers. Boss, it seems that there are members of the Magic Knights. Shouted a robber in a red hood. Old rules. We've been carrying this place for a long time, time to leave. The boss wearing a green turban said cheerfully, it's good to commit murder in this foreign country. If a magician comes after us, let's run. No matter where we go, they can't spend it with us. Yes, the robber in the red hood said happily, but the expression on his face froze the next moment, because he saw a scarlet-eyed, silver-haired boy who was waving in the wind, holding a big sword towards him from far to near. Chop. Illusion. The red-hooded bandit subconsciously raised his height, but only at this time did he realize that the young man was not coming at him, but the two men in front of him. One sword, two eagles. The sword of severing demons slammed into the two robbers who were caught off guard, and this huge force directly smashed their internal organs. Ding dong. You killed the first-class lower-level wizard with the red name and got 300 points reward. Ding dong. You killed the second-class lower-level wizard with the red name and got 200 points reward. Not bad. There was no wave in Asta's red eyes. These robbers were still flying in the sky, and his eyes had become points. Killing them was like slaughtering chickens and dogs without any inner pressure. Captain, there are only 3 of them, why don't you kill them? The robber with the red turban has split eyes. These are all his cronies. When he wants to be the boss in the future, he will rely on these cronies to rebel. 3 people. ... The green-hooded bandit thought for a while, and finally thought that it would be good to hang the heads of the 3 members of the Magic Knights on the banner of their bandit band, so he waved his hand. Brothers, kill these 3 little farts. Boy, the boy kills it directly, the little girl keeps it for Lao Su. Yes, the robbers who wanted to escape in one skirt turned their brooms one after another. At this scene, Asta almost grinned. He pinpointed an area where 5 robbers gathered. The height was about 15 meters, and a run can be done. Fire creates magic and girls double murder. A robber with a smile on his face turned his fire magic into a female murderous look and threw it at Asta, but a shocking scene happened. Asta, who was running on land a moment ago, disappeared. 5 consecutive cuts. Asta was like a god of death, dragging the swaying red-shaded sword of the demon. First jumped onto the broom of the robber who used the girl's double murders, beheaded her with one sword, and jumped onto the broom of another robber. 5 adjacent robbers were all beheaded by Asta within 3 seconds. Ding dong. You killed 3 red-named first-class lower-level wizards and got 300 points as a reward. Ding dong. You killed the 5th class intermediate wizard with the red name and got 500 points reward. Ding dong. You killed the 4th level intermediate wizard with the red name and got 600 points reward. Going to get rich. Asta feels that he has turned into an excited heart and trembling hands. When he killed the Raptors bandit group, their leader was only a 5th level mid-level wizard, but now he has only killed 7 people. There are 2 middle-level wizards out, this is about to take off. What's going on with this person? Can even an intermediate wizard be able to do it in seconds? All the robbers jumped up subconsciously when they saw this scene. This is a bit too scary, isn't it? You must know that intermediate mages can be regarded as the mainstay in any country, but at this moment, in front of this young man of the magic knights, but it's like a piece of paper, and it will die if you touch it. Fly high for me, and then the kite will kill him. The leader of the green-hooded bandits shouted loudly, the high-altitude pursuit battle is a good show for their bandit group. Asta, come up. Finral took out his broom and planned to assist Asta in attacking the enemy. It is good. Asta nodded. 15 meters was almost his current limit, and he was really distressed that he couldn't fly. If these people were on land, it would be too easy to deal with them, but unfortunately these people can fly. Now I'm in charge of flying and using space magic to transfer Asta, and little know I, you're in charge of keeping us safe. Finral explained. No problem. Noel sat nervously behind Asta. Don't be nervous. Quote. Asta stood on the broom, stared straight ahead, and occasionally bounced back the magic that the robber had brought over. Is this a monster? It can reflect magic. Headmaster, what should we do? This scared robber kite for a while and found that the 3 of Asta were not only unscathed, but their robber group was hit by the magic that bounced back and suffered heavy casualties. This is a madness. These 3 people seem to be a little evil, let's withdraw first. The robber was ashamed and touched the sweat on his head. He secretly looked at it just now, and he counted the most of his own people killed by the magic that bounced back. Fortunately, there was chaos and no one paid attention, otherwise this robber would really end his head. Seconded. The red-hooded robber raised his hand quickly. He had only lost 2 cronies, but now he has come down after a battle of revenge. His cronies are dying, he wants to cry now, GN. They seem to be running away. Finral saw, the king was good, that the bandits were not throwing magic at the back. Finral, can you move me to the back of the afro? Asta asked. These robbers are so close now that it can be said that as long as one jumps on one's magic broom, they can catch them all in one go. No problem. Finral immediately made a space magic tunnel on the left side, and at the same time, the man with the explosive head suddenly felt something fluctuating behind him. Just when he was about to look back, a voice as cold as death sounded in his ear. First, Asta rushed out of the space channel like a tiger, and the chest cavity that swept the explosive head was dented as if it had been hammered by a giant hammer, and his magic broom was in a free-fall state without instilling magic power, but at this moment, Asta has completed the borrowing and went to the next magic broom. Captain, help, this kid jumped over. Asta's rush was like a tiger jumping into a sheep's skirt, and the members of the Diamond Kingdom robber group suddenly panicked. Hurry up. The bandit leader in the green hood almost roared and shouted. Through simple analysis, he found that Asta's fatal weakness is that he can't fly. If that's the case, it should be fine if everyone disperses. Yes, we'll be fine as long as we spread out. Haha, you are really wise and talented. The one-skirt robbers immediately dispersed happily, and the formation of the team changed from dense to evacuation, but at this time, there were fewer than 50 survivors of the mighty robber group. I only remembered to disperse now, it's too late. Asta jumped into the air without fear. The nearest robber was also 30 meters away, but Finral was so clever that he built a space channel in front of Asta's eyes. Although this space teleportation magic was very expensive, but at this time with less than 50 people, Finral can fully withstand this kind of magic consumption. Now is the time to push the limits. Finral's nerves were tense, and every time Asta bounced he would immediately calculate the nearest foothold, plus he had to be distracted by manipulating the magic broom, and soon he was sweating. Captain, that kid will teleport, a robber shouted in horror. What? The captain of the robber turned his head and saw that he almost didn't cry. Is this still human? He was 30 meters away the moment before, and he was there in the next second. This is the case. The most important thing is that anyone who is close to him, I didn't even have a chance to struggle, I just flew out like a smashed clay figurine, this is a devil at all. Which grandson said that all four-leaf clover people are fat sheep? I really want to chop him up, who can explain what the hell is this lunatic? I want to go home. The robber with the red hood wanted to cry but had no tears. Originally, he was able to turn around and throw 2 magic spells, but now he was so scared that he didn't dare to turn his head and run away, because this was a complete murder. A very powerful magic wizard, Scholar, was killed by a boy with a sword, who would believe it? Consequences of ignoring taijutsu, that's it. Through the cooperation of Finral, Asta has completely mastered the home field, and the person in this skirt is now scared, so it is no different from the gift. Earth creation magic, 10 times the defense. A robber saw that there were no companions behind him, and resigned to his fate to cast this defensive magic. Suddenly, his body was covered with layers of thick soil, and at the same time, his magic broom fell overwhelmed. This time, he can be said to be it's a gamble. Because even if it defended against Asta's slash, it would be more fortunate to fall from such a high place. It's useless. The demon-breaking sword in Asta's hand slashed without any hindrance, and the robber was immediately smashed out of the soil. Brothers, don't run away, fight with him. The leader of the robbers turned from fear to anger. He knew that if they fled in such a panic, the whole army would be destroyed sooner or later, because from the time they escaped until now, not even 10 minutes were used, but Asta has already after killing more than 400 people, I am afraid they will have to finish all of them in less than a minute at this speed. That's right, fight with him. The robber with the red hood is the deputy head of the group, and his words are also very important. The remaining robbers saw that both heads of the group had spoken, so they immediately stopped and planned to fight to the death, but at this time the head of the robber and the deputy head seemed to has negotiated. After everyone who cheated stopped, the one who didn't look back slipped away. Brothers, the captain has run away. A sharp-eyed robber discovered this scene, and immediately shouted hoarsely, this is a fool, it's a good bet to fight the enemy. I am the mother of the 2 of them. 9. A robber who saw Asta rushing towards him roared desperately, believing that if he could do it all over again, he would definitely choose to wipe the necks of these 2 guys while sleeping. Finral, teleport me directly to those 2 regiments. Asta looked at the red-hooded robber and the green-hooded robber who were about to run away. I have to say that these 2 are still very smart. They ran away from left to right. In addition, there were several men dragging them. If Asta only chased one, he would definitely let him go. Go one. But not to be overlooked, Asta is a shinobi. Kunai. Asta threw 10 kunai in each of his hands at the remaining members. What? The rest of the team members died immediately. He's the devil. Hearing the screams, the deputy head turned his head and looked, and the whole sky still left him and the head of the team behind. Repent in hell. Asta passed through the space passage and came directly to the deputy head, with the huge demon-breaking sword raised high. Bury with Lao Su, fire creates magic and cremation. The deputy commander preached ruthlessly, and at the same time, huge magic power gathered at his feet. This was the magic that he created to perish together. When he cast this flame, the range of 5 meters around him would be covered by raging fire. Have you not woken up yet? Asta stomped heavily on the head of the deputy head. The head of the deputy head immediately indented into the body like a turtle, and at the same time, a huge pillar of fire ignited from the foot of the deputy head, but Asta was already bounced with force. The last one. Finral was already full of sweat at this time, the sweat dripping from his head and even his corroded eyes were a little hard to open, but he still insisted on opening the last space passage. Do not kill me. The head of the bandit leader in the green hood, his terrified face was contorted at this time, but the demon-breaking sword that Asta had charged up before has been mercilessly chopped down. Boom. The huge impact produced by the sword of severing demons even turned the bandit leader into a cloud of blood. Since then, all the bandits who invaded Longxi village have fallen. Ding dong. This time, you killed a total of 52nd level lower level mages and 10,001 points, killed 301st level lower level wizards, earned 90,000 points, and killed 25th level intermediates. Mage, get 12,000 points reward, kill 10 4th level middle level wizards, get 7,000 points reward, a total of 119,000 points reward. Cool. Asta retracted the sword of suppression and let his body fall freely. At this time, Finral used his last magic power to create a magic tunnel under Asta, which sent Asta back to the magic broom. Nice job, Asta. Noel excitedly patted Asta on the shoulder. Asta was so handsome just now. He was like a tiger out of the gate. There were so many robbers that no one was his opponent. Little know I know you are very excited now, but my magic power can't support it anymore, please don't shake it. Finral was sweating profusely. At this time, he really exceeded his limit. He had only used space magic 32 times. Now he is really running out of ammunition and food. Ah, then you quickly find a place to drop, come. Noel was taken aback and hugged Asta subconsciously. After all, she is a little afraid of heights. Thank you, Finral. Asta suppressed his joy and said solemnly. No problem. Finral struggled to find a footing spot and stopped. As soon as he landed, he collapsed to the ground like a 100-meter race. And Asta and Noel rested beside him. Open the mall. Asta's excited communication system. This time, he got 119,000 points in an instant. Ding dong. It is detected that the host's points have exceeded the 50,000 points required for the upgrade. Do you want to upgrade now? Hurry up. Asta preached excitedly, and at the same time, a white light flashed in front of his eyes, and the system displayed the upgrade interface. Upgrading. 1%, 2%, 3%, 15%, 32%, 55%, 75%, 99%, 100%. After the upgrade, 50,000 points will be deducted for this upgrade, and a total of 5 items will be added to this upgrade. Homashu. 2 Tomo Sharingan, 20,000 points. C rank Ninjutsu. Fire Release Gokakyu no Jutsu, 500 points. Special Ninpo Shintenshin no Jutsu, 500 points. Items. Chakra Tinder, 10,000 points. Recovery Potion, 50 points. Flying Jade, 100,000 points. Kikatsugan, 10 points for 1 point. Kunai, 10 points for 1 point. Healing Potion, 1 point for 1 point. Bottle. The Sharingan is finally going to be upgraded. If I had upgraded the Sharingan earlier in the Magic Palace, those guys who would be invisible in the Diamond Kingdom would not be able to escape. Asta is still a little worried about this matter. Although Tomo Sharingan's insight has been improved, it has not reached the ability to see through the enemy's stealth skills, so he has long been looking forward to 2 Tomo Sharingan. 2 Tomo Sharingan. Normal effect. Slow down the enemy's attack speed and gain insight. Special effect. 40% chance to cast Genjutsu, 40% chance to copy the opponent's magic, 40% chance to see through all disguises. This one sees through all the camouflage cowhide. Asta's eyes lit up when he browsed to the last item. At that time, he suffered the loss of not being able to see through all the disguises, otherwise how could Naraku's lotus escape from his eyes? However, the overall improvement of this 2 Tomo Sharingan is not very big, except for the 10% increase in the probability of casting Genjutsu and copying the opponent's magic. Other things have not changed much, but Asta still chose to upgrade happily. After all, if he wants the next Sharingan, he has to upgrade step by step. He is looking forward to the moment when he opens one with Sharingan, and believes that he must be a dick by then. Buy 2 Tomo Sharingan. Asta's expected sermon. Ding dong. Successfully redeemed 2 Tomo Blood Wheel Eye, spend 20,000 points. If anyone sees Asta's eyes at this time, they will be surprised to find that the red pupils with only a little black Tomo around them have slowly transformed into 2 Tomo. Asta opened his eyes and looked at the distant scene, and it became clearer. However, he has not yet used all the effects of Sharingan. After all, he has not encountered a powerful existence that allows him to copy magic after coming to this world. Generally, after opening the second door, the god blocks and kills the god directly, and the Buddha blocks and kills the Buddha. Look for an opportunity to try this function of copying magic and creating illusions in the future. After all, it can't be used for nothing. Asta thought for a while, and then continued to browse the new products. After all, 5 new products were added this time. C-ranked Ninjutsu Fire Release Gokakyu no Jutsu. Gathering chakra at the back of the throat and exhaling flames in one breath, like a ball of Gokyaku, is extremely powerful, and the range is changed by the amount of chakra. It is the basic ninjutsu for Uchiha clan people to learn fire release. Note: the power of this fire technique is stronger than that of most fire magics, and the power will also increase with the increase of chakra in the body. Not bad, it can be used to be handsome occasionally. Asta thought for a while and said, after all, this Gokaku no Jutsu looks super handsome, regardless of its power, so Asta decided to buy it. Ding dong. Successfully redeemed C rank for ninjutsu fire release. Gokaku no Jutsu, spend 500 points. Look at one next. Asta's eyes moved to the next ninjutsu, and this ninjutsu was somewhat interesting. Special ninjutsu Shintenshin no Jutsu. Aim at the enemy, use your soul to focus your mind on one point, and release your own spiritual power to capture and manipulate the opponent's body. Once you succeed, you will see the outcome. Note: the control time is judged according to the strength of the opponent's magic power. Facing a magician with strong magic power, it is easy to be cracked, and the sequelae is the temporary loss of control over his body. This is not bad, it must be exchanged. Asta narrowed his eyes and thought of a lot of scenarios where he could use this ninjutsu, such as manipulating the 12 pants among the enemy leaders. It's cruel to think about it. There are only 2 ninjutsus this time, but Asta doesn't take it seriously. After all, he is mainly attacking taijutsu, and ninjutsu is just icing on the cake. Props Chakra Tinder. Asta was very curious about this new prop, and immediately began to check the properties of this prop. The host can buy the chakra fire and put it in the human body in this world, so that the human body will produce chakra, and the chakra in the body can be enhanced through self-cultivation in the future, and the chakra fire will feed back half of the chakra obtained by the training to the host. This is good stuff. Asta's eyes lit up. With this thing, he can continue a large amount of chakra in a short period of time. In this way, he can open 8 inner gates when he has accumulated a strong chakra in his body. Moreover, he has complete control over the chakra fire, and can deprive other fires at any time, so that he does not have to worry about the problem of backlash, but this fire is a little expensive, even if all the points obtained this time are used for redemption. Can be exchanged for 5. Still poor. Asta shook his head and had no plans to exchange Chakra Tinder for the time being. After all, he still had 48,000 points, so he had to save some money. The next one is Recovery Potion, 50 points. It can instantly restore half of the mana and chakra consumption. Yes, exchange 3 bottles first. Asta immediately bought 3 bottles of recovery potions and shared a bottle between Noel and Finral. Cuckoo thump. Asta did his part to drink the clean potion, not to mention that the potion was a little sweet. After drinking a bottle of recovery potion, Asta immediately felt that his energy was almost restored. What is this dirty-looking water? Noel preached with some disgust. Good thing, it can restore physical strength. Asta caught a narrow smile and said that Noel was obviously cowardly, scared, and didn't dare to drink. Really? Then I'll be welcome first. Finral saw that Asta had already drank a bottle, so he had nothing to worry about and drank the recovery potion. But he didn't expect that after drinking a bottle of recovery potion, he felt that he was alive all of a sudden. Asta, what a treasure this is, how can the effect be more powerful than the stamina recovery herb? Finral opened his eyes in disbelief. Shan Pao, when you recover your strength, go back to your life as soon as possible, let's grab that unhurried combat mission. Asta rolled his eyes. This thing was so troublesome to explain, he was too lazy to explain it, so he might as well take the attitude of a transmigrator and mock Finral's ignorance. What? My mountain cannon? At this moment, Finral can only feel the galloping horses in his body. You must know that he is an aristocrat who grew up in Wangweiji. He has never seen anything in his life. Now he is laughed at by a young man from the most remote mountain village in the empire. How can he repair? So bright. Noel gently tasted the blue liquid in the glass container with scrutiny eyes. A sweet taste came from the tip of his tongue. He found that the potion was not bad, it was delicious, so he raised his head and took a big gulp. When I got up, my body felt warm after drinking it, as comfortable as bathing in milk. Noel couldn't help but snorted softly, an inadvertent move that was surprisingly seductive, causing both Asta and Finral to look sideways. Look at what? Noel turned her head away with a coquettish anger. Although she was still in buds at this time, she was already as eye-catching as the buds in the early morning. Hey, let's go. Asta was still thinking about the combat mission and couldn't help but said, after all, the fighting maniac Luck is not joking, he must be in the midst of a full load killing at the moment. If he doesn't hurry, maybe this mission will be snatched, and then the time comes but there is no good chance to earn points. I'm really convinced you, Does it give you a rest at all? Finral rolled his eyes. He originally wanted to rest here. After all, today was the place where he surpassed himself, but now his exhaustion has been almost healed by the recovery potion, so he is embarrassed. Lai was here, so he immediately communicated with the magic of space and created a super long-distance magic channel. Huh, come back so soon. Yami put down the beer in his hand in surprise. It was only a few minutes after he announced the mission, and Asta and his party had already returned. Head of the regiment, the enemy bandit group in Longxi village has all been resolved, so can this less urgent combat mission be handed over to me? Asta is full of expectations. This time the combat mission does not expect to earn so much, and he is already satisfied with earning 100,000 points. After all, this mission is not so urgent, which means that the difficulty of the mission is somewhat reduced. Well done, brats. Yami praised the appropriateness, and then said, this third combat mission, although it was also caused by the bandit group of the enemy country, is not a combat mission, but a rescue mission. Rescue mission, Noel said in surprise, because she unknowingly remembered what happened in Suoxi village. If they could have come faster, then the villagers would not have unnecessary casualties. All kinds of tasks have some shadows. Well, the location of this mission is a mountain village built next to the ancient battlefield. It is reported that at that time, a large-scale enemy robber group took a fancy to this place, which is easy to defend and difficult to attack, and wanted to use it as a temporary base, but who would have thought of the villagers there? It is also very sturdy. After several battles, the robbers can't help the villagers. They can only surround the villagers. The villagers were trapped to death. At this time, a man named Chris pretended to surrender. In fact, he introduced these robbers into the ruins of the ancient battlefield. Your task is to annihilate the robbers inside and rescue the villager by the way. Yami said so many words at once, and felt his mouth was dry. At this time, he realized how uncomfortable it was that Magna, his sweet little padded jacket, was not there. He was so thirsty that he didn't even have a person who poured water. So where is the location of the mission? Asta asked. Fengale village, a village with a very uneasy name. Yami stretched. Captain, I've never been to this kind of bloody and unromantic village, so I can only ride a magic broom, but I'm afraid my current magic won't support us to fly there, so it's better to change another one. People. Finral said with a bitter expression. After meeting Nolan Asta, he was shocked to realize that there really is a wizard who can't even ride a magic broom. There are 3 people sitting on this broom. Can't stand it. Well, that's true, otherwise, it's not good for you to be a fuel bottle. Yami showed an expression of understanding, and also did not want to tease a few words. Finral pulled the black line over his head, and he really thanked the head for his understanding. Leader, why don't you just let me go? I just took a day off and feel full of energy. Vanessa stretched out on the sofa, as lazy as a delicate orange cat, and the sunlight on her long smooth hair looked very intellectual and beautiful. I also really want to say it, but I really don't have a sense of existence. Gordon spit out a sigh of poisonous mist and was a little sad, but then when he saw Gray, who was as inexistent as the door god, he suddenly realized that life was still acceptable. Okay, just go and remember if you are in danger, just give me the limit. Yami waved his hand, and Asta couldn't wait to pull Vanessa out immediately, which made Yami sigh that the team is really getting more and more efficient under his leadership. Are you in such a hurry? Asked Xiao brother. Vanessa covered her mouth and yawned. It was early enough for a back and forth. Brother Xiao, I'm not young at all. Asta rolled his eyes and asked about it. But the reason why he left in such a hurry was because he was afraid that luck would give him points. If this fighting maniac came back suddenly, he would definitely follow him noisily, and then his poor points would be much less. Okay, I have the opportunity to go to my sister's room and let my sister take a good look at how young you are. Vanessa took a slight car with Asta, which confused Noel. What the hell are you talking about? You have to go to the room. Noel said that he was very pure and could not understand this whining dialogue at all. It's nothing, you'll understand later. Asta waved his hand casually, and Vanessa had already taken out the magic broom, signaling him and Noel to come up quickly. It will take about 3 hours to go to Fengale village now, so let's hurry up. Vanessa smiled and preached. Okay. Asta took the lead and got on the magic broom. Asta, you come down. Noel was a little unhappy, because in this way, Asta was sitting between the two women, and when the magic broom was rising or falling, wouldn't they squeeze Asta like a meat bun? In the middle. Noel, it's an emergency. We need to know that if we delay one more minute here, one more innocent life may be killed in Fengele village, so don't stick to the details at this time, come up quickly. Asta Xiaoji said with affection. Vanessa felt a little sense of urgency, and hurriedly greeted Noel to get in the car. Noel reluctantly sat behind Asta, although she felt secure against Asta's back, but she didn't want Asta to stick to Vanessa. The road to Fengele village is still very long. Asta simply opened the Hokage Mall again. When I looked just now, there was still the last newly added item that I didn't look at. Flying Jade. You can summon 15 Flying Jade to gather under your feet to fly. A good thing, it's just too expensive. Asta looked at the price of Flying Jade and needed 100,000 points, and now he only has 40,000. 7,850 points, but after this battle, the Flying Jade must be exchanged, otherwise, if you meet a magician in the future, if you fly into the sky, you will have to stare blankly. Little Asta and little Noel are going to hold on to their sister, and my sister is going to fly higher. Vanessa spoke suddenly. Okay. Asta immediately hugged Vanessa, and Noel hugged Asta lightly, although he was a little restrained. Although I have to hug Asta now, as long as I hug with both hands, my body can still keep a distance, so it's not a hug, right? Noel blushed and thought, but she suddenly felt the magic broom she was sitting on became extremely smooth, which made her body slip towards Asta involuntarily. Hey, it's so strange, why did the broom suddenly become so slippery? Vanessa also preached curiously, and now Asta is literally sticking to her. I don't know, Sister Vanessa, is it time to change your magic broom? There is no friction anymore. Asta also said innocently, that in fact the magic broom became so smooth, that's because he covered the chakra to the broom's surface, so that the three of them were obviously tightly attached. While Asta and the others went to Fengele village, Luck returned to the Black Bull's headquarters excitedly. Hey, Captain Yami, I'm back, you can leave that unhurried combat mission to me. Luck preached excitedly as soon as he entered the door. You came back late, Luck, the mission has been picked up by Asta and the others. Yami took a sip of beer and preached. What, how is this possible? Luck's eyes widened in disbelief, he had already pushed his speed to the limit in the battle just now, but still didn't catch up. Isn't this a matter of course, no matter how fast you are, can you have my space to teleport faster? Finral preached triumphantly. So does the regiment commander have any other combat missions? Luck preached without giving up. Not yet, but Luck, can you explain, you and Magna were the two of you when you went out, why you were the only one who came back? Yami raised his eyebrows and said, is this the rhythm to abandon Magna? He is flying slowly and leisurely behind. Luck preached disapprovingly. Who do you say is slow and leisurely? My Hongelinger majestic dispersion number is very fast, okay. Magna pushed open the door unhappy, and he was said to be a hindrance when he was excellent, how could he bear it? Okay, just stand by for me obediently, and I'll go to sleep. Yami poked out his ears, intending to make up for a return to sleep. After all, no matter how fast Asta is, it will take a while to complete this task. Ah, Asta, this brat robbed me of my combat mission. Luck thumped the ground out of control, his combat mission. HMPH, what is robbery? That's not the reason you're too slow. Magna gloated. It's not that you are too weak. If you hadn't dragged me down, how could I be slower than Asta? Luck's eyes suddenly flashed a sly look. Cut, I almost fell for you. Magna was originally annoyed and wanted to bathe Luck with his destroying fireball, but when he saw his sly eyes, he immediately understood that this kid just wanted to stimulate him to do something, so he wouldn't be fooled woolen cloth. When did Magna get smarter? Luck looked puzzled. Quack, it's the sound of clenched fists. You mean Lao Su was mentally retarded before? Magna's eyes are about to burst into flames, this is the rhythm that will piss him off. Isn't it? Luck seemed to be talking to himself, and he was about to leave. Blast and blast flame ball. Magna couldn't help it. Could it be that he is mentally retarded in everyone's eyes? Ha ha ha, let's fight well. Luck stepped on Thor's boots and flew up excitedly, and soon, the sound of a fireball explosion could be heard in the entire hall on the first floor. Did you two think I was dead? All of you gave me a penalty stand. Yami jumped out with thick dark circles under his eyes. He was so pissed off, right? If it goes on like this, his neurasthenia will go down. I'm sorry, Captain Yami. Magna and Luck immediately bowed their heads in a sincere manner, with no intention of resisting at all. This made Yami, who was already gearing up, embarrassed to beat others. With such a sincere attitude, what can you do, helpless _. If you know I'm wrong, just tidy up the house and stand for me. Stand until the limit is exceeded. Yami roared, then dragged his hollowed body and continued to walk towards his residence, but after taking a step, he turned back suddenly, and said with a bad look, if I hear the voice again during this period, I will kill you. A huge murderous aura hit Magna and Luck, and the two suddenly had a cold war. Captain Yami is so scary. Magna patted his chest guiltily. I really want to fight with the captain. Luck was a little excited at the same time with a guilty conscience. While the Black Bull headquarters was buzzing, Asta and Noel flew towards Fengele village on Barnasha's magic broom. Attention, I'm going to raise my height. Barnasha saw that there were layers of dark clouds ahead, so she took the initiative to raise the magic broom, and the magic broom rose almost in a straight line. This time, the Asta in the middle was cheaper, and the little hands that had nowhere to put finally had the chance to get their wish. Little devil, you did it on purpose. Barnasha felt that her indescribable place was being pinched fiercely by two pairs of small hands, and she couldn't help but become coquettish. No, Sister Barnasha, if I don't hold on to you, I will fall off, and there is another person behind me, so I can only increase my strength and hold on to you. Asta's sleazy preaching. Hey, you take advantage of Sister Barnasha, don't use me as a shield. Noel, who was sitting in the back, preached dissatisfiedly. If you have the ability, don't arrest me. Asta rolled his eyes, and now Noel was like an octopus, holding him tightly for fear of falling out of the air. I don't. After Noel finished speaking, his little head was buried behind Asta's back. Only at this time did Noel realize that Asta's body was so strong. You two are really energetic. After the broom flew smoothly, Barnasha preached enviously. She was young and energetic, not like she didn't have anyone she could quarrel with now. Stupid Asta. Noel spat softly, and although the flight was smooth now, he still didn't want to let go. Little Asta, can you let go of my sister now? If you like hugs, you can come to my sister's room at night. Barnasha's catchy sermon. Asta let go of his hands. This feeling really makes people linger, but his face is not so thick, and he quickly let go after Barnasha said it. Rogue. Noel was a little unhappy, probably because he saw that Asta was so close to other women. Anyway, he was in a bad mood right now, so that he didn't pay attention to Asta for the rest of the way. About 2 hours later, Barnasha, who had been recognizing the way, suddenly said, It's almost there, my sister is going to descend. Clear. Asta's little hand is about to move again, rising and falling, which are all men's favorite, but there is another advantage of falling, that is, Noel in the back will be close to him involuntarily. Soon, Barnatha began to dive. Asta and Noel's bodies involuntarily moved towards him. Don't be afraid, Noel, you're not going to fall. Asta felt that Noel was trembling behind his back, and quickly comforted him. I'm not afraid, but is it close to the ground? Noel was too scared to open his eyes. Okay, I finally arrived at Fengele village, but this village is strange, the sky is full of lightning and thunder. I heard that this is the relic of the ancient battlefield. Barnatha jumped off the magic broom and preached. Wang Dahao are the ruins of the ancient battlefield. It looks really spectacular. Asta also looked at the thunderstorm over Fengele village from a distance, which was really shocking from a distance, as if he was living in the midst of thunder. Aren't people here afraid of being struck by lightning? Seeing that Noel had really landed, she couldn't help asking curiously, and she was good at water nature's magic. If she started fighting later, would she be electrocuted? No, these thunderbolts seem to be formed naturally, but they are actually powerful magic circles. As long as they don't touch the minefields, there will be no danger. Barnasha said. Furthermore, these thunder and lightning also protected Fengele village to varying degrees, such as the large-scale intrusion of the enemy robber group this time, and many villages fell before we could go to rescue them. It's hard, but this Fengele village seems to be fine all the time. This can be considered a blessing in disguise. Asta smiled and then said, then let's go to the village to find out about the situation first. Brother Asta, he has grown a lot at once. If it were luck and Magna, the two daredevils would have rushed into the ancient battlefield by now. Vanessa laughed. Humph, Asta likes to pretend to be an old man. Noel turned his head arrogantly, and then adjusted his messy clothes. As a princess, she has to keep her most perfect appearance at all times. Ha ha, Vanessa let out a coquettish smile, a really energetic young man, and then led the two of them along a winding path towards the top of the mountain. Sister Vanessa, why don't we just fly up? Noel said, distressed about his little Geo. It would be bad if such a perfect little Geo stinks. You can't fly directly, because near Fengele village, the sky is completely taboo, and you will be struck by lightning if you fly rashly. Vanessa laughed. It is precisely because of this that those robber wizards do not take this village. Vanessa, there is a woman in front. Asta first saw a blurred figure, then turned on to Tomo Sharingan. The visual distance increased several times, and saw a very gentle girl looking anxiously out of the mountain. According to the information, that large robber group has been deceived by a man named Chris, so this is probably the villager who came to greet us. Lan said, little brother Asta is not good, he didn't even call me sister just now. I thought you wouldn't find out. Asta smiled awkwardly, but suddenly there were two behemoths on his shoulders. This strange feeling made people want to go beyond the limit. To make such an intimate action. Noel's face turned black, grabbed Asta's right hand and walked forward, then said with a pretty face, since we are villagers, let's hurry over, maybe we are in a hurry. Things are waiting for us. Is little Noel jealous? Vanessa licked her index finger, and at first Betch showed a dazed look, and then turned into a smirk that can turn all beings upside down. The love between boys and girls is really exciting. Are you the sorcerers of the Magic Knights? The girl asked expectantly, looking at the black cloak that Asta wore. That's right, we are the Black Bull Knights. Are you a villager of Fengele village? Vanessa said. I finally waited for you. The girl burst into tears with joy, and then fainted. Quote. The three of Asta were stunned. They thought that the girl would reveal important information to them, but unexpectedly, they only said one sentence to them. It's not a big deal, it's just because the wait time is too long and the physical strength is exhausted, so I fainted. Vanessa probed. Then you should wake up soon after drinking the recovery potion. Asta took out a bottle of potion to feed the girl, although most of the potion would leak out and slip along the white neck in an indescribable place, but Asta swears that the eyes are so pure at this time. After the girl drank the potion, her complexion turned ruddy, and her complexion improved at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, the girl did not wake up immediately, and it seemed that it would take a while to react. Anyway, let's send her back to the village first. Noel wiped the potion from the girl's mouth with a piece of paper, otherwise the stickiness would definitely be uncomfortable. Then this arduous task will be handed over to little Asta. Vanessa supported the tired little waist. Naturally, this kind of cool work cannot be done by their girls. Of course, it is not impossible for her to put the girl on the magic broom. But now it is in a state of preparation, so if you can save some magic power, you can save some magic power. Don't worry, leave it to me, Sister Vanessa. Asta hugged the girl with a serious face. The girl's soft waist was made of water, and the moment she hugged her, it was fragrant. Stupid Asta, change your posture. Noel pouted in jealousy, feeling a little mad in his heart. This is her exclusive posture. What a scumbag Asta. Asta heard the words and carried the girl behind his back, but this made it even more heart-wrenching. The three of them walked up the winding mountain road. From the terrain point of view, because they couldn't fly, it was indeed easy to defend and difficult to attack. It's no wonder that the large robber group of the enemy country could not attack here, and was eventually tricked into the ancient battlefield ruins by a man named Chris. Soon, the three came to the door of Fengele village. However, Fengele village was clearly still on alert at this time. Not only was the entire village covered by a layer of magic defense mask, but there was also a group of militiamen standing on the wall built with wooden stakes and stones. Although the gate of the village is open, it still gives people a feeling that strangers should not approach. Who are you? Why did Neville faint? The militia captain asked vigilantly. We are members of the Black Bull Knights. As for why this little sister fainted, it may be because she was too surprised. Vanessa said. It turns out that you are members of the Magic Knights. Great, Chris is saved, I'll come over to the village leader. The militia captain said happily. Don't worry, you can let the village leader come to Neville's house. Vanessa flipped her hair. In a word, she'd better settle the girl first. Okay. The militia captain immediately arranged for someone to inform the village leader, and then personally led the way. Why did Neville wait for us on the mountain road? Asta asked at this time. This is because Chris is her elder brother. Since Chris sacrificed himself to save the village, she has to wait on the mountain road every day, just waiting for you to come. It is a feeling. That's it, so what do you have to say about the ancient battlefield ruins? Asta said. At this time Vanessa and Noel also listened quietly, because Asta asked all the questions they also wanted to know. I don't know much about the ruins of the ancient battlefield. Only when the road's village leader arrives can I answer your doubts. The militia captain may feel that he has not been able to provide effective information to everyone, so he took the initiative to talk about this, the beginning of the matter. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.